So on Monday, we discussed various assessments of body composition. And the second half of this chapter talks about the nutrients, the macronutrients, carbohydrate, fat, and protein, and the micronutrients, vitamins and protein. Gonna edit all of that out. Last class, we talked about body composition. This class, we're going to talk about nutrients. Number one, carbohydrate, then fat, then protein, and then micronutrients, vitamins and minerals, and also water. It's not included here, but it should be. Carbohydrate is fuel. You've got to think of an exercising athlete as different than everybody else, because this class is exercise physiology. So it's like, how does your body, physiology is, how does your body function? Anatomy and physiology, usually they're taught the same. Anatomy is the name of stuff. It's kind of like not even really a science. It's just, you have to learn the names of the muscles. Physiology, exercise physiology is how stuff works. So you learn the physiology of the kidney, the physiology of the liver, the physiology of the heart, lungs, blah, 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 endocrine system, blah, 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 blah. The physiology of exercises, how do these things function given exercise? Now, carbohydrate, if you're exercising, is gasoline. If you're not exercising, and if you give a questionnaire to all of the people in the United States, 50% of the country do absolutely zero daily physical activity. To me, that number is astounding, but 44% of all the kids in greater Boston are obese. Another number that is pretty astounding is that 68%, and now let's even reduce it a little bit, but 66% of the country is obese or overweight. So 50% of the country does absolutely zero activity a day, and 66% of the country is obese. Now, that doesn't mean that the people who are obese are unhealthy, because you got a lot of football players, a lot of sumo wrestlers, who are technically obese, but their cardiovascular fitness, their lipid profile, their physical fitness profile, their cardiovascular risk factors are okay, but technically they're obese. So remember, in this course, we're talking about people who exercise. So what would my suggestion of nutrients be, specifically carbohydrate, fat, and protein, be for individuals who exercise? Well, we'll get into that. The book would suggest a 50%, 30%, 20% split. So 50% of your diet or your calories or your grams should be carbohydrate. And for the most part, the individuals who don't exercise should be eating about 2,000 calories. That's based on this equation, your resting metabolic rate, and we've talked about this a number of times, equals 500 plus flips. If you can finish this equation, you're going to get an interception this week. What is in between these parentheses right now? I'm gonna put you on the spot, dude. I've said this a million. 500 plus what here?
Can I get a hint?
Heck yeah, dude. The last thing here is what you have to fill in. But I'm gonna say this: 22 times what? Now, flips. You're on a team. You're on the Assumption College football team, which means if you can't do something, it's great because your teammate could do something.
Yes.
So now, let's say that you're on the exercise physiology team. If you can't answer this question, what goes in this box right here? Thankfully, anybody in class could fill that in. Now, this is on all of the videos that I've posted. And when I look at the analytics on YouTube, I see that there are no hits to the videos. So I don't really care, but I've posted the videos, so I'm good. The amount of energy, if you guys get this, I would go and switch all of your IRAT GRATs of the last one to 100% for everybody. Just gonna fill this box here.
Is it fat-free mass?
Right, dude, right.
I was gonna say that too.
Right. Guys, you have to learn. You don't have to go to school, but you certainly have to learn. You know, I'm never gonna see you guys again. Maybe at this, I don't know, what is it? A dog that you have, like a statue dog that I meet you guys at? Maybe I meet you guys there. That would be honestly the moment of my life. But like, you still have to keep learning, even though you're not going to see me in more than 3 weeks. To know this information seems a little bit silly. Why do you have to know what's in there? But to me, this number, the fact that this is fat-free mass means don't tell people to get on a treadmill if they want to be healthy. If they want to increase the amount of resting, metabolic amount of energy you spend by being alive, you want to increase the amount of calories you spend, fine, no problem. You don't have to lift. Sorry. You don't have to spend huge amount of calories. You have to have muscle. You have to lift, not run on a treadmill. Isn't that the total opposite of what we've always like told people? If you guys can learn that, man, does that change the game? That changes the whole game. So how do you get that? right? And if we calculate what my kilograms are, it's about 65. And if you calculate all of that, it comes out to about 1,800. At rest, I'm spending 1,800 calories to keep my heart going, lungs going, my eyes are moving, my tears are working, my GI tract. Now this is at like complete total rest. Now, if you talk about my basal metabolic rate, which is absolute fasting and total rest, my body spends about 1,500, 1,400, 1,500 calories just to be alive. So what happens if I have a diet that has 1,000 calories a day? Here's 1,000 calories. I could live off this. A Big Mac, a large soda, and a large fries. It's more than 1,000 calories. I watched that show, Man versus Wild. That dude will eat a grub. He'll eat a grub a day. He's good. So like, I know I've been like doing all of these like smoothies lately. You give me one smoothie that has 3 handfuls of brown rice, 3 handfuls of every vegetable on the planet, and two like hamburger patties, and you put that in the mixer, and you mix that up, and I drink that. What's his name? Les Stroud or Bear Grylls? He would be so happy to have that smoothie once a day if he was in the middle of the wild. Regardless of whether or not you think the smoothie is gross, it would give you the nutrients you need. So what this chapter talks about is, what do you need in terms of carbohydrate, fat, and protein specifically in order to be a good exerciser? Because this is a course of exercise physiology. But the suggestions that I give for you in terms of the percentage of carbohydrate, fat, and protein who are exercisers might be different than the regular population. Remember, carbohydrate, if it's not used, it's gasoline. If somebody gave me 300 gallons of gasoline for free, I wouldn't get rid of it. I wouldn't pour it into a hole in the back of my lawn. I would store it. I would hold on to it because it's valuable. $3.49 a gallon. If you give me 200 gallons of that, that's a lot of money. I can't do the math. I don't know, whatever. I would save it. So that's what carbohydrate is straight fuel for the body. So if you're an athlete and you're exercising more, you want carbohydrate. Carbohydrate is the only fuel for your central nervous system. It only uses glucose for energy. So you have to have carbohydrate in your diet. It is an absolute mandatory nutrient, as far as I'm concerned. Now, people do keto diets, no carb diets, low carb diets. All right, fine. I don't know enough about my field to be able to get into a conversation with somebody who knows a lot about keto diets, but a keto diet is a high protein diet. Now, because ketone bodies, blah, blah, blah. If you don't have any carbohydrate in your diet, then your body through a process called gluconeogenesis, changes proteins to amino acids, and amino acids go through the Krebs cycle because these amino acids eventually get changed to acetyl-CoA. And acetyl-CoA is the same thing that all of your carbohydrates and fats are broken down to eventually. Remember, carbohydrate, fat, and protein are interesting because they're all made of carbons, hydrogens, and oxygens. Protein has this nitrogen group, an amine group. That's why it's called an amino acid. An amino, amine, nitrogen. But carbohydrate, fat, and protein also contain carbons, hydrogens, and oxygens. That's like their chemical structure. So when they're ripped apart to carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, all of them. So even though carbohydrate is a different, easier structure to break down, which is why it's used for fuel, when fat is broken down through beta oxidation, and when protein is broken down, now let's take a look at protein. Protein has this nitrogen group. So in order for protein to be used as a fuel, this nitrogen group has to be removed. That costs energy. It literally costs the body more calories to remove this nitrogen group so that it can use protein as a fuel. So why would the body want to use a substrate for fuel that actually causes more energy to be used? Last ditch effort. If the body is completely starved of carbohydrate and fat, it's got to start using protein for fuel. But protein is your muscle mass and your muscle tissue and the tissue of your organs. Right? The way I look at it is that, like, if you're at a bonfire and you're like lighting like a fire with your buddies, and you have all of this wood, and if you start running out of wood, what you're going to start doing is you're going to throw in chairs. You're going to throw in everything else aside from the wood that you can to keep the bonfire going. And your body does the same thing. Your body wants to burn carbohydrate. This is valuable. Now, if your body can burn fat, it'll try to do it. But it's only going to happen really effectively if you're super trained. If you're trained with endurance, so you're trained with slow glycolysis and you're training on treadmill, you're running super marathons, long distances, 35, 45 minutes. We've already learned that your body gets better at switching to using fats as fuel. You don't want to get rid of fat in your body. Fat is important. It's all of the cell walls of your organs. It's all of the cell walls of your cells, not your organs. Like lipid bilayers. That means that these bilayers that hold the junk in your cells inside the cell is all made of fats. You don't want to get rid of fat in your diet. Otherwise, you get rid of the cellular structure. Vitamins A, D, E, and K. These are vitamins that are absorbed into your body only through connecting to like fat molecules. So you don't want to get rid of fat. Fat is an insulator, makes it so that your body can retain heat. When you're exercising and it's very hot, your body makes it so you don't get too hot. And when you're cold, your fat insulates you. So you don't want to get rid of fat. Obviously, protein is important. It's the scaffolding or helps maintain the structural integrity of all of your tissues and muscles. And when you're doing hypertrophy training, strength and power training, you're specifically affecting the protein in your muscles. More protein equals more cross-bridge connections of actin-myosin and a better contractile property of your muscle. Vitamins and minerals are usually considered the catalysts of all of your chemical interactions that happen in the body. The breakdown of the catabolism of everything, which is the breakdown of everything, and the anabolism of everything, the buildup of everything, is all based on these like amounts of vitamins and minerals. These are your micronutrients along with water. Actually, not water, you need a lot of it. But vitamins and minerals are your micronutrients because you need, relatively small amounts of them compared to these macronutrients. These ones are what you need in your diet because you can't get them through air and water. Carbohydrate is gasoline. Fat is like backup resources, and protein is like steel, metal, and sheetrock. Like you could burn the sheetrock if you had nothing else to burn, but you don't want to burn that. You want to burn gasoline. So for my athletes who are actually doing exercise, and by doing exercise, what I mean is, and I guess I've never really made this claim before, but the average person needs 2,000 calories a day to function. What is this based on? If you look at a milk carton, your recommended daily allowance of each of these individuals is based on like what the average person a day does. I've already shown you my resting metabolic rate, and give me a second to write this equation again. Equals, because it's such a good reference always, 500 plus, and that's the same line, parentheses, 22 times your fat-free mass. Such an important equation. Literally has changed the way that I think about everything, because it's all about muscle. The amount of energy that I spend each day is based on the kilograms of muscle that I have. So how do you figure that out? Well, if I weigh 70 kilograms, I have to figure out how much is muscle and how much is fat. The way we do that, body composition. That's why we spent the last 2 lectures showing you how to do the skin calipers, but even more importantly, bioelectrical impedance with the scales. But then we also showed you the gold standards in regards to body composition for the benefit of your education. But certainly you want to get one of those scales. If you don't have a scale by now, you want to go to Target. It's going to be something you use for the rest of your life. But I want to know Sorry, this might even be wrong. Let's go clear this. Erase this. If I am erase, not draw. If I am 70 kilograms, because that's what I am. What I have to do is find out what is my fat-free mass. That's why you do body comp. Body comp will tell you that I'm 20% body fat. I step on the scale. It'll tell me I'm 70 kilograms, percent body fat 20%. Multiply 20 by 70, it's 14. 70 minus 14, 56. So I'm 56 kilograms of fat-free mass. Hopefully this is intuitive to you at this stage of the game. And I'm 14 kilograms of fat mass. So I would plug in 56 to here, do all the calculation, and it comes out to like 1,700 calories or something like that. So as somebody who is, now I'm 5'8", 160 pounds. So somebody like the ladies might have a little bit less resting metabolic rate than I, only because they're just smaller frame. But like Flips definitely has more than me. Probably DJ has bigger resting metabolic rate than I do. But this is going to come out to like about, say, 1,200 to 1,800 kilocalories. So I'm at this. Then above and beyond that, I have to digest my food, and I have to do exercise and activity and walk. And even if I just sit here and watch Game of Thrones all day, every day, I still have to, like, my eyes are moving back and forth. I'm still moving to move the clicker. I'm still spending energy. So the amount of energy that I spend each day is greater than 1,700 calories just to make my body function. And for the most part, the average person is spending 2,000 calories a day. But again, the average person doesn't do any daily physical activity, sits behind a computer in a cubicle all day, every day. And so that's where these 2,000 calories come from. This class is exercise physiology. And the exercise part means that they're exercising. So I think that my athletes are spending way more than 2,000 calories. I think that my athletes are spending 3,000 plus, probably closer to 4,000. That's supposed to be a 4. It's a cool looking 4. 4,000 calories. Now, give me a second here. Let me give you some justification for why I think that. And what I'd like you all to do is maybe join me on this little excursion here. All right, I'd like you to go to your browser and type in this here, Region 6, mensgymnastics.org. All right, everybody sees that? Skilo, DJ, let me know if you see that. Are we good? Everybody hear me? Go to Region 6 mensgymnastics.org. And when you get there, you're going to see a little tab that says education. Can anybody just give me confirmation that we're good?
Yeah.
All right. Go to education. And what I want you to do is, I want you to click the nutrition tab here. And I'm going to clear all my screen. annotate, clear all drawings. And then I want you to click on this energy expenditure calculator. Can somebody just confirm that you can see it? Click on energy expenditure calculator. This is one of the best things. Like if you're trying to like have a business, these are things that you never want to forget. Anybody give me confirmation. Whoops, let's go back. Total energy expenditure. This is what you want. All right, now if you look down, let's even go back. Hold on 1 second. Oh, I just made it easy. I just put the link right to it. You see this, you want to go down here. Oh, this is so good. So good. Everybody, I want you to do this. So the way that you do it is you have these little dials. I'll do what I am. In a couple of weeks, I know. Happens quick. I'm gonna be 45. What the heck? And then I'm about 165 pounds, I bet, and I'm 5'8". Let's go through intense exercise. I do none. Moderate exercise, strength training, bicycling. All right. The other day I did 50 minutes of bicycling, but I do that once a year. Housework. Oh, I love housework. I do 2 hours of housework a day. I love it. This is standing, walking. Ooh, I coach 6 hours a day and I never sit down. I never sit down. Never get a drink. Sleeping. People average about what, 7.5. So let's go there. This is probably pretty reasonable. Holy smokes. Take a look at this value here. Is this real? What I want you guys to do is I want you to do your own numbers. All right? Do your own numbers here and tell me what you get. Take your time. Thumbs up when you're good. Alice, we good? So maybe just because you're the one on video, it's okay if I talk to you, it's okay. All right. So this basal metabolic rate that I get. Okay, Christopher is good. I'll wait. Thumbs up. Let me see thumbs up just so that I know that everybody can relate to what Alice and I are going to talk about. You don't have to come on video. I could care less. Jameson's good. Ladies penitentiary, good. All right, everybody's good. All right. So let me just show you now. What I'm trying to do is you can learn a lot from the book by yourself, but the book isn't going to lead you to like cool things that make it so that you don't need the book anymore. In my 20 years of working with this stuff, I'm going to show you 2 things right now. This little calculator and the next thing that are going to change your whole life. You don't need the nutrition part of the book, I don't think, any longer if you know this stuff. So I'm going to show you how much energy do you need to just keep your body functional given your girth and your age and stuff. And then how much extra energy do you need on top of that to do whatever you're telling me that you're doing? And if you don't have that amount of energy, your body's using your muscle mass. So if you're trying to put on weight, if you're trying to get stronger, you're not going to. You're just burning the chairs and the table and everything else that you need in order to just function. And you might be like, oh my God, that's a lot of food. All right. Right. That's the reality of what we're talking about. So I'm going to talk with Alice. All right. Just so we can have a discussion. I'm going to minimize this so nobody sees us anymore. Alice, let's talk about this number that you get here, this basal metabolic rate. For me, it's 1,700 kilocalories. What do you get there?
Are you asking what my number is?
Yeah.
1,400.
So let's take a look at what that number means. All right. And I'm just going to do a little bit of math. And remember, this is basal metabolic rate. And it's very difficult to calculate basal metabolic rate. So my suggestion has always been to calculate resting metabolic rate, 22 times. And Skilo said fat-free mass. Right? So if I calculate that out, remember my fat-free mass is about 50%, 54, I think we just calculated. I can do it, hold on one second. Right now, I am about 22% body fat, so 0.22 times 65 kilograms equals 14.3. So 65 minus 14.3 is equal to 50.7 fat-free mass times 22 equals 1,115 plus 500 equals, I'm at 1,615.4. That's what 65 kilograms, if I plugged in 65 here, no, if I plugged in my fat-free mass of 54 kilograms of fat-free mass, given that I'm 65 kilograms and 20% body fat. I don't know if that all makes sense, but it's so good. So the numbers are pretty consistent. Adds to the validity of this particular equation here. And then on top of that, if I'm doing the exercise that I purport that I am, I'm spending another 2,000 calories on what I'm doing. It's impossible. How is that possible? I feel like I do nothing. So, Alice, what do you get here for your basal metabolic rate?
Basal metabolic was a little bit over 1,400.
All right.
And then the total energy expenditure was just under 4,000.
What the heck? 4,000?
Yeah, we have doubles for swimming.
Oh my goodness. So you have doubles. What does that mean? Can you tell me what your numbers, like how much intense exercise do you do?
I kind of guessed. I did an hour and 45 minutes of intense and then an hour and 15 of moderate.
Oh my God. That's every day?
Almost every day.
Oh my goodness. And then moderate is what?
I did an hour and 15.
Oh, what does that mean? Like, I can't even imagine having the time in the day to do that and work and everything. What do you do for intense exercise? Like as hard as you can go? This is as hard as you can go?
We do a lot of sprint sets.
For an hour and 45 minutes? Oh my God, I want
Yeah.
to grow up. This is crazy. All right, this is crazy. This is crazy. And like, what is moderate exercise? Just like now you're just doing laps in the pool and all that.
Yeah.
And your workout lasts for 3 hours?
We have a 2-hour in the afternoon and then an hour. Well, it just depends on the day. 2 hours in the morning or hour and a half.
Dude, I sat next to Michael Phelps one time at the Olympic Training Center. And I watched him eat. First of all, you walk in the Olympic Training Center, you go to the cafeteria. And Michael Phelps had this like representative. It was like weird. He was like, don't look at him. I was like, what are you talking about? Don't look at him. It's like, I don't care who this guy is, first of all. Like, I do, he's an Olympian, that's cool. But like, I literally don't care about him. Don't look at him. You telling me don't look at him is going to make me look at him. This dude had 10 full plates of food. I'm talking 10,000 calories. Like everything, bacon, eggs, pancakes, cereal, oatmeal, plate after plate after plate after plate of food. Unbelievable. So you're at 145 something or others of intense. What about your light and standing? What was that at?
Well, I didn't really know what to do for light. I didn't put anything, but I put standing and walking at 2 hours because I was thinking about classes and walking to classes.
And how much sitting did you do?
It said 13
It's crazy.
hours.
Isn't that crazy? You know what they say? Every hour of sitting is 22 minutes off your life. Isn't that weird?
Uh-oh.
But I'm not saying that, like, isn't that just a weird number? Like, and I'm saying like, all right, so every day I guess I sit like this amount, 7 hours, and you're active. So there's no way that you're sitting for, what did you say, 12 hours a day or whatever, or 13?
13.
Right. So most likely these values are way off.
Mm.
So let's assume they're way off, but at the same time, at the minimum, you're at 4,000 calories. Right? At the minimum.
Yeah.
So if you're not getting 4,000 calories, what does that mean to your body? What does that mean?
I'd assume it means it's breaking down protein to keep going.
Dude. Yeah, dude, you're eating yourself to just make it so that you can perform what you're doing. And that's if you're eating 4,000 calories on the dot. Right? So if you're trying to go to the gym and you're lifting and you're trying to do your stuff, and you know, winter's coming, you want to make sure that you put on mass. Like, if you're not thinking about now, how much calories should you be consuming if you want to make muscle? Right?
You have to eat more.
Yeah,
right?
you have to eat more. The rule is this, okay? This is always a number you want to remember. 3,500. 3,500 calories equals a pound. Equals 1 pound. And the way that you want to think about it is this: 1 pound. So 3,500 divided by 7, because there's 7 days in a week, Alice, is what?
Question.
No, come on. 3,500.
Yeah.
7 is what?
500.
Right, dude. So that means 500 calories per day. Now, what we're referring to is you have calories that are coming in, which is food. And we're always telling you that you have to balance that with calories that are going out, which is exercise, right? And what you're doing every day. So if there's a 500 calorie deficit, which is like, if you subtract what you do here with what you do here, that's what a deficit is. Then you can gain weight or lose weight. So, and it's 500 calories per day. So let's say, for instance, I had 4,000 calories out, because that's what you're spending, Alice. So that's your 4,000 calories here. And you're meticulous about your nutrition, and you have 4,000 calories in. There's no deficit. So you're not putting any muscle mass on. You're not going to lose weight. You're not going to gain weight. You're going to stay the same because the amount of calories that you're putting in matches what you're putting out. So you have just enough lumber, just enough wood to keep the fire going. Now, if you want to put on 1 pound of muscle, or you want to lose 1 pound of fat, you switch these things around. So if you're doing strength and conditioning training, and I'm actually going to switch this. No, I'll keep it like this. I'll keep it like this. 4,500 in and 4,000 out. So now let's consider, I change my diet. I change the in, change the diet. And I add 500 calories to my diet. That's not 500 calories as spoonfuls of sugar. That's assuming that the diet that I have here is the diet that we're going to talk about in the next couple of slides. A balanced, nutritious diet. And the exercise that I'm doing, this 4,000 calories, is hypertrophy training. I'm doing sets of 7 to 10. I'm doing 8 to 10 exercises, balanced 4 days a week, appropriately supervised so that the technique of the lifting is correct, balanced between legs and all of the stuff that we've talked about. And I'm talking about hypertrophy training. And I tell my athletes to eat 500 more calories. Well, now there's a 500 calorie difference between what they're eating, the lumber, the resources, the scaffolding, the metal, the steel, the whatever it is they need. They have enough to live. They have the 4,000 calories to live, and they have the 500 calories extra to be able to deal with the strength and conditioning. They're going to put on 1 pound of muscle a week. Now, the suggestion in regards, or if, say, for instance, you have this stays at 4,000, because I guess that's what you need to like maintain the activity that you're doing. But what you do is you increase the amount of exercise that you do, Alice, or who is it that's the swimmer right now? Is it Alice that I'm talking about? All right.
Yeah.
If you increase the amount of exercise that you do in the gym so that you're eating your 4,000 calories to maintain your swimming and your basal metabolic rate, but then you go to the gym and you spend another 500 calories a day on top of that by running for 3 miles on a treadmill, or running for a mile on a treadmill and spending 250 calories, and then lifting for a couple hours a day with for an hour on top of the lifting, on top of the running, with a well-balanced periodized thing, then what you would do is you would lose a pound a day. Sorry, 1 pound a week. So you can manipulate this energy in and energy out, but it's all based on this number. And if you're not getting that number of calories in, there's no way for you to be able to put on muscle mass. Just not how it works. Right? So this is where you want to start. These are the numbers. This is to be alive and not to eat your own bone, muscle, brain tissue, like tissue. And this is just being like sedentary. And this
I
is,
feel like 4,000 calories is a lot of food.
yeah, dude, I know, but it's not really. And I'll tell you why. And I know that you would say, I know it is, but you're not trying to eat because you're hungry or because you like what you're eating. You're trying to eat because you are an athlete and you have a small window in your life to be an athlete and to be able to win something at some point or to be able to enjoy your time in the water. So you have to replace the whole thing about nutrition and all that stuff for athletes is to understand that you're eating for a psychologically different reason. You're no longer eating because it's delicious or because it smells good. You're eating because you want to win. And that means you need gasoline and you need protein and you need fats. You know what I mean? It's just, that's the number one thing that I would say in regards to nutrition for sport performance. Now, in regards to 4,000 calories, you're right. It's a lot, but it's not really, because back in the day, I had a roommate and he had his girl, and they were like trying to like go on this like weight loss kick. And they're like talking to me about like how I eat a lot. I was like, dude, I don't think I eat a lot. Actually, I only eat like once a day. So what I did is for class, just like I asked you guys to do this week, is to do a diary, a nutrition diary. And for me, I would eat at like UMass Boston. I would eat every morning. I would go and get like an omelet, and the omelet would have like spinach, green peppers, cheese, omelet, whatever, bacon. I love that stuff. But it's on like the skillet, and the skillet would have like, I would watch either sometimes they would put butter on it or they would put olive oil on it. And then when I'm like entering my data, I could put omelet, obligatory omelet, general omelet, or I could try to look at the omelet and be like, dude, how much egg did they actually use? And how much milk is in the egg mixture? Like, there's no way for me to measure that. Is there salt in it? Is there pepper in it? How much oil did they use on that skillet? Is it oil? Is it butter? I look at the amount of like ham that they put in the omelet. There's no way for me to be accurate. So like I'm looking at the 4,000 calories, and then for me, I don't really eat much. I have a deli sandwich for lunch, and then at night, well, I'll have a Chipotle, whatever. Dude, 4,200 calories. I was like, holy samoli. Where did that come from? Not only that, but 3 times the amount of sodium that I should have, out of nowhere. So then I look at my roommate, and my roommate, he ate better than I did. And he and his lady are trying to, manage their weight. But if I'm eating 4,000 and they're telling me that I don't eat at all and I'm at 4,000, then what are they eating? So like, even though you're right, 4,000 is a lot, but is it? And then I'll show you in the next couple of slides, is it or not? 4,000 is a lot. Do you know how many calories that you're at, Alice?
How much I eat every day?
Yeah, I don't want to know, but is there somebody who is part of your swim support system that is able to give you information regarding how many calories you should be at? And do you have any idea how to make it so that you can get to 4,000 calories?
I think we have nutrition training once a year.
All right.
in
So you have a
sports
little bit of
medicine.
that information.
Yeah.
All right. Flips, how many calories are you at, my dude? All right. What about DJ, Kenzie, Claudia?
Mine says I'm at like 5,000.
Woo-hoo-hoo. Anybody higher than 5,000? All right, so 5,000 calories, man. What do you do?
I play a lot of basketball.
All right, so 5,000 calories. All right, so I'm going to show you the next document, which might be the most important document of the whole entire semester, to be honest with you. If I had to summarize everything I could into one document, I think it might be this. I believe it's on the website. It's called the Exchange System. You should all be very familiar with this document, in my opinion. Now, it's easy for me to give you that little calculator and show you how many calories you should be at, but I honestly don't know anything about nutrition. I do because I've taught these classes before, but it's only textbook information. I don't have a doctorate in nutrition for sure. So I find like I can't give you that calculator and tell you how many calories you should be eating without giving you a way to understand how to make it so that you can eat the calories that you need to eat and in the ratio that you should eat. Like how you can't call a sports talk radio and say, I don't like the manager. They're going to say, all right, who do you want to replace him with? And if you don't have that information, then your call isn't very valuable. So I can't tell you, how many calories you should eat without giving you a way to manage eating those calories. Otherwise, I don't think decline. I don't think that I'm giving you useful information. So now that DJ knows that he needs to be at 9,000 calories and Alice needs to be at 4,000 calories to manage what they're doing, how do you get there? Oh, well, this document is the bomb. So I'm just going to scroll down. It's online. Man, why isn't this working the way that I want it to work? 6:59. 6:59. Oh, maybe. Oh, I go left and right. Okay. Whoa. Exchange system. This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. 6:56. Come on, just work easily. 6:57. All right, it's working. All right, so let's take a look at this. Page 658. Now, this tells you how to get to 1,200 or 1,600 or 2,000 or 2,400, 2,800, 3,200, 3,600 calories per day. So if I want to get to 5,000 calories per day, what I would do is take 3,600 and add 3,600 or to 1,600. Then I would get 5,200 calories per day. And if DJ is trying to put on muscle mass and he's eating like 5,600 calories per day, he's got that extra 600 calories to make muscle. So how do you get to the 5,600 calories? Well, you just do the math, add whichever ones you need together. But let's say, just for ease, that we're going to work with Alice, who needed to be at 4,000 calories. And let's assume that Alice's math was wrong and Alice needed to be at 3,600 calories. So that means Alice needs to kind of be on this regimen here. Now, if she's on 3,600 calories, let's say she even needs to be at, it said 4,000 calories. So this isn't going to do it. She's 400 calories short. So if you eat this, you're losing a half pound to a pound a week. Doesn't matter. So my suggestion is 3,600 plus, probably going to have to up this a bit. And I'll show you what I would do, how I would do that. Maybe what you do is you just do twice of this, or I wouldn't do that, because you notice that all you need is 2 units of milk, no matter what, for everybody. Pretty easy. Vegetables doesn't really change either. 3 to 4 units of vegetables. Alice now is saying, oh my God, but I don't know what a unit is. And DJ was asking the same question. But Dr. Young, I just don't understand what these numbers mean. Well, that's why this document is so amazing. So number one, if you're at 3,600 calories and you have to increase, like, take a look at the trends here. The increases aren't going to be in the amount of milk or really the amount of vegetables, long as you're hitting 4 vegetable units. Maybe you're going to start to increase fruit from 9 here to 11 or so, but it seems to be like asymptotically plateauing here. But look at starch, 5, 8, 11, 13, 15, 18, 21. So that's going to keep going in a positive direction. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Same thing. So these are the things that are going to start to increase. These are your carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Micronutrients, macronutrients. So the increases are going to be here. So if you're trying to get to a 3,600 calorie diet, the suggestion is 2 units of milk, 4 units, blah, blah, blah. Whoa, what's a unit? So then you go down here and you take a look at it. Whoops, not down here. Go over here. And it said I needed 2 units of milk. What is a unit of milk? A unit of milk is 1 cup of fat-free or half or whatever kind of milk you have, 1 cup. So that exchange list said that I need 2 units of milk, which means if I have 2 cups of milk a day, I'm good. Or if I have 2 cups of soy milk, I'm good. Or if I have over here, it says milk exchange. Over here, 2 cups of soy milk. If I have 1.5 cups of yogurt, goat's milk, blah, 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 blah. So what I have to do is I have to get to my exchange numbers. And my exchange numbers are 2 units of whatever those things are. So you have choices. If you're lactose intolerant, do different things. But there's choices. So this is kind of like the list that I give to my parents or anybody who's trying to understand this stuff for themselves. So now let's go to the vegetables, just so I can finish what I'm doing. Your vegetable exchange list. So you need 3 to 4 units of vegetables. So DJ, what I do is, sometimes for you guys, you're older. Eating food is a little bit easier. You get less picky as you get older, but for the kids, man, they are picky. So DJ, if you ever become a coach, what you do is you print this out and you tell the kids to circle things they like. Circle anything you like. I like beans. I like broccoli. I like carrots. I hate cauliflower. Cross it off. I don't mind celery. And then you give it to the parents. And they say, go buy this stuff, because the kids have already said that they'd eat it. Right? So it's, to me, this, like, I'm doing like a reverse psychology. Oh yeah? Tell me stuff you'd eat. All right. And then I give the list to the parents. The kids can't tell me they don't want to eat it then, because they already said that they'd eat it. They got to get 3 to 4 units of vegetables. A unit is 1/2 of a cup of cooked vegetables or 1 cup raw. And I'm going to erase that so it's just a little bit easier for you to see, but now that it's highlighted. So a half a cup of cooked vegetables. So a half a cup cooked, and you need 3 to 4. So 2 cups of cooked vegetables. That's not a lot. Or, as I've been doing, take the vegetables, put it in a juicer, and drink it. Takes you 4 minutes. Or a cup of raw. If you steam it in a crock pot for 2 minutes at high pressure, you put it in the juicer, boom. I've been doing that every day. I also have been putting a handful of brown rice and like mixing it up well, so I get my carbs and my vegetables all in one kind of smoothie. All of these work. You also need to have your, go back here, go back to the right, go to the right, go to the right. Why? You know, it's all on video. It's all video. All video. So here you need to get your fruits 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 9. So go back to your fruit exchange. Go this way. So many different options. It's a no fail. I give it to the guys, give it to the kids, and then I give it to the parents and say, just get these things. They said that they'd eat them. Cereals and grains. You got to get a lot of this stuff. It said 21 units if you're 3,600 calories, but it gives you all of these things that you can choose from. These starches here, we're going to start to talk about it with the lecture, finishing the lecture today. These starches, carbohydrate, carbohydrates, fuel, gasoline. These ones here are relatively good for you, not good, but not bad, right? You have kashi, you have grits, grape nuts. These things are very dense, bran, fiber, oats, muesli, millet. These things are very, very dense. Yams, squash, potatoes. They take a long time to break down in your body. These things are good things. Lentils, lima beans, right? It's different than, say, for instance, these here. All right, let's go clear these. These are other carbohydrate. These are not good for you. Angel food cake, brownies, cake, cookies, donuts, sport drinks. All those sport drinks are actually sort of good sometimes, and we'll talk about that. But sport drinks are good sometimes. But obviously, these things are highly processed carbohydrates that break down very quickly, that cause a huge spike in your insulin. And you kind of want to avoid these because of that, because it leads to type 2 diabetes. It could. There are some uses for these things that are good. If you watch the Tour de France, they eat lots of Coca-Cola, lots of sports drinks. But they're spending 20,000 calories a day. So they have to get energy in. The rest of the population who doesn't do more than 50%, the rest of the population, 50% of which doesn't do any daily physical activity, they probably want to avoid this stuff. But for people who are doing exercise, different story. And then you have your meat substitutes, which are clear drawings. And your meat substitutes are here. So now, if I had to give you 2 things that I thought were the best things I could possibly give you to summarize the chapter we're about to talk about, it would be absolutely this exchange list here So now maybe you guys can go take a look at it and circle things for yourselves and figure out how many calories are you actually at and what are you trying to get to? And then what are the foods that will get you there? Right? That's the number one document I can give you. And the way to make this relevant, the 3600, 3200, is that other document, which is the calculator. And once you have these two things, dude, you could make a whole business out of this stuff. That's what I think. Does anybody have any questions about that stuff? All right, I think I'm going to stop the recording there.